Hello and welcome everybody to Tobis Tech Bites, your regular .NET tech snack, your place for the front end, the back end, and everything. Welcome back to our little front end Blazor QR code series. And the last missing piece of the puzzle is obviously to be able to scan a QR code. So this is what we want to do today. We want to be able to generate a QR code, which we actually already can do, but we want to be able to scan it as well. So I have a webcam here on my desk, and if I go over to the QR code and scan it, then you can see down here the content of the QR code "Hello World" has been read by my Blazor code. And this is the topic of today's episode. What do we have to do in order to achieve this? First of all, we of course have to choose a library that does the whole webcam handling and QR code detection and scanning for us. There are plenty of options. I decided for the Nimiq QR code scanner, and you can just download the minified versions directly from the site here and put it into your solution. Let me show you where to put it. You have to download the QR code scanner UMD min.js and the QR code scanner worker min.js. The second one is a dependency of the first one, so you're going to need this as well. And then, of course, we have to include these files into our index.html. Here it is. We just need to load the QR code scanner UMD min.js. The other file is loaded by the first one. And again, there is some JavaScript involved in the whole handling because we are using a JavaScript library here. So we're going to extend our QR code helper that already helped us in generating QR codes by two functions regarding the QR code scanning. And these two functions that we wish to implement is start scan and stop scan. And we're going to implement these right away as always. So I'm just going to paste the content. So what we're going to do is we instantiate a new QR code scanner. And the first argument we have to pass is the video element in the DOM where the video stream is going to be rendered. And the second parameter is the callback that's get fired once a QR code is detected. And the third parameter are options. Okay, so we can highlight several things in the video to make it easier to determine where the scanning is actually happen. And then we call QR code scanner.start, and yeah, the scanning starts. The one interesting aspect here is that we have seen several times throughout the course of this little video series how to call JavaScript from Blazor, but in this case we need to call Blazor from JavaScript, right? So it's the other way around. Once we have a result, we want to invoke a function in our Blazor app to process the results. And this is done by passing a .NET object into the JavaScript function. And on this .NET object, we can then invoke a method on the Blazor side, which is called onQRCodeScanned, and we're passing result.data. So this is the data read from the QR code. To stop the scanning, just to have the code complete on the JavaScript side, we just have to issue qrscanner.stop, and this is it. So this time, actually, the most important and interesting part is actually happening on the Blazor side. So we are going to paste in the UI for our little sample. So this is it. What do we have here? We have a navigation log. We need this to detect internal navigation to a different page. We will see in a second why this is interesting for us. We have the video where the QR code scanner renders the video stream, and we have a text area that we can just bind to a variable in order to display the result of the scan. Then, of course, we need a code block to host the logic for our solution. And first of all, we are adding a string for the QR code data that we've bound to the text area here. And then on the first render, we want to invoke our JavaScript, the QR scan helper.startScan. And in order for this to work, we of course need the IJS runtime to be injected. And here we do create this .NET object reference by calling .create, and we pass ourself into it, so an instance to the class representing our Razor page. And this is the handle that JavaScript can use to call us back. And of course, we want to provide the method that is going to be used when JavaScript wants to call us. And as we have stated in the JavaScript, this has to be named like on QR code scanned. And we have to mark it with the JS invocable attribute so that Blazor knows that this is a function that can be called from JavaScript side. And what we get here is simply a string with the QR code data, and we can just put it onto the console or onto the debug stream. If we want to put it on the debug stream, we need to include system diagnostics namespace, and we just storing this in the QR code data field, and then we issue a call to state has changed so that Blazor knows that it has to re-render the UI. And this is basically it. This would lead us to the functionality that we've seen in the intro of this episode. But why do we have this navigation log then? We have this navigation log because if we would navigate away from the page, some residues of the QR code scanning widget would remain on the screen. So we have to stop the scan before we leave the page. Okay, and this can be achieved by providing this on before internal navigation callback. And we just implement this here, and all we do is we are invoking QR scan helper dot stop scan, again passing the .NET object reference. And yeah, this is basically it. And if we are running this, then we will see the expected behavior. So here is the browser starting, and here comes the scanning code. And again, I can say, hello, Tobis Tech Bites. I can click to generate, and I can go over with the camera and I can scan it. And as you can see, we read, hello, Tobis Tech Bites here. So everything was working. And if I'm going to navigate away, as you can see, everything is disappearing regarding the scanning UI. What remains on the screen, if you wouldn't have stopped the scan, are these yellow scan area marks. Yeah, and because this is not very nice, if they stay, we just have to stop the scan before we leave, and this can be done by this navigation block. Well, okay, everybody, this is already it for today. The short and quick episode. I hope you liked it. I hope it may help you in your own projects, and maybe it spares you some time looking around. As always, the code is on GitHub, so feel free to check it out. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.